And there's something else that I want to chime in from, just speaking from my own expertise on this, right? I like to think I know a little bit about something as it pertains to business. He said red flags should go up in your mind if you hear someone frame one element of the comic creation process as, for all intents and purposes, the whole. I agree wholeheartedly. Treating it as if it's only about this thing is what has gotten a lot of people in trouble with their independent publishing, or lack thereof for that matter. When you operate as a publisher, or you're supposed to be operating as a publisher, it's not just about the interior of this book. It's not just about the cover. It's not just about the artist that you put on it. There's so many different elements that you must take. I mean, you have to have as much passion and drive about it and take it as serious as you do those other things. Now, unfortunately, we got to this fake fraud conversation of, well, if you care a lot about the business side of things, you don't care about the quality of the actual work, which is retarded. That is a non-point. Anybody saying that is more than likely trying to yell squirrel, essentially, and get you to focus on things that don't pertain to their own bad habits, because it's all encompassing. Okay, it's not one or the other, and you don't have to. The best among us, as far as the publishers are concerned, do both incredibly well. They produce quality, they produce things, and by quality, I mean it's up to the standards in which the audience has dictated in great numbers should be around financially, right? Not just giving it cosigns and all that, reaching in their pockets and paying for it multiple times. They dictate that. Fans, customers dictate that for sure, and it's important, because if you're just doing it as a sort of self-satisfying thing, right? Art for art's sake, as you heard me say before, you're probably not even going to see a lot of success, right? If you're thinking that everybody must live up to your standards as customers, that's foolishness. You got to take both of it serious. You take the creation, the creativity, that aspect of it very seriously, and you have to take the business aspect of it seriously. So he's completely correct that red flags should go up when you hear someone say that it's only about this aspect. He says, if you put professional siding on a house, but the plumbing or electrical work is shoddy, or you'll be sleeping in sewage or waking up to an inferno. Making quality comics requires a project manager to be honest with himself about the multifaceted nature of an endeavor, and then a willingness to delegate tasks when necessary. That's very, very true. One of my best skills, if I have one, has always been delegation. I know when I don't know something. And I'm also very good at reading, like, be it like feedback, audience feedback, customer feedback, and then understanding where we need to improve. We needed an art director. We added Caden White. We needed more editors. We've added Igor as another editor. We've needed, someone to facilitate, obviously, the operation side of things. We brought in Brandon. Like, these are things that are necessary, right? And anybody that is going to be a professional, especially if you're going to be leading, right? Whether it's a group of you or one individual leading a company that calls itself publishing or thinks of itself as a professional publisher, yes, you have to be able to understand that. And you have to know that you don't know things. He says, I've met many people who oddly think an expertise in one area of life translates into an expertise in a totally unrelated fields. Again, this goes back to what I was saying about the professionalism. Just because someone can draw really well, write really well, edit really well, does not mean that they do everything in comics well. It's not just about that thing that you do, that's your level of expertise. No. And you have to be self-aware enough to understand where kind of you lack. And sometimes it's not even lacking in knowledge. It's only so much time in a day. You're only one person, and you have to be able to delegate things if they're going to get done. Okay. But yes, just being in the industry doesn't mean that you understand, let's say, the economics of like comics. I've said that. That's what I'm talking about with the contract. Just you can get someone that's been making comics as far as like doing the artwork or writing as a contractor for 40 years. They can be a complete bonehead as it pertains to the actual business side of things. They can be clueless. give terrible advice because they don't know, but they think just because they could draw like a son of a gun that they know everything else. And it's just not how it works. Doesn't work like that in anything. Doesn't work like that. And I come from the music industry. Just because you sing, and really, and this is why he brought up the house thing. In any other industry, you would see that, and it wouldn't be something that's like, it's not controversial, right? Just because someone can sing really well doesn't mean they understand distribution. Just because someone can play the hell out of the drums doesn't mean they can sing. Doesn't mean they can write music. Doesn't mean that. So just because you have one level of expertise that happens to exist in that field does not mean that you understand the field in its entirety. It says being a great writer does not make a man a good accountant. Facts. Being a great artist does not make a man an effective negotiator. Facts. Knowing how to speak English does not make one a skilled storyteller. Facts. If someone is trying to sell you a home and they love to razzle dazzle you with one aspect of the property while quickly ushering you away from the other areas, then you should pause and think about what's really going on. Yes, there's probably some malpractice potentially going on. Or it's just supreme ignorance where this person is just absolutely clueless. I'm glad he put this up because I saw it. I was reading. It's like he's right completely. And I say this not even to really knock anybody, because there's a lot of people that aspire to go be great, right? And I'm telling you guys, you got to be careful with whose advice you're taking there, because they may be leading you off a cliff. And it's, again, because they're ignorant in literal definition, textbook, meaning that they lack knowledge. They might not be stupid, but they lack knowledge. They don't understand that. And just because they exist in an industry does not mean that they understand everything. I don't pretend to know everything. That's why I pay people good bucks to understand other things. And again, I also trust them, which is very important as a leader. Trust them to make decisions, even if I don't see it. Why did I hire you in the first place if I didn't? There can be some, there's been plenty of things that happen with the reverse where I'm like, I don't know if I even agree with it. I don't know if that makes sense. But ultimately, that call is going to be yours. And if it happens to be the bad call, well, we'll revisit that. Best believe. But oftentimes, it's the right call. That's why I put them there. That's what they focus on within the company. That's their level of expertise. That's what they understand. So you got to be careful out there. But yeah, anybody that's like, oh, it's only about this as far as publishing. That's it. That's all it's about. Like, hey, I'm a great artist, or I'm a great writer, and that's all I care about. That's all you should care. That's just terrible advice. And often when they're trying to focus so much on that and acting like the other part doesn't exist, it should throw up red flags, as Doug is suggesting, because they're probably falling short elsewhere. So you got to be wary. Now, if that person has expertise in this one thing, and it doesn't mean that their opinion is gospel either, for sure, right? Because even as an artist, right, another artist might disagree with them, right? So again, you take everything with a grain of salt, but obviously it's going to be, if you're talking about writing, someone that has that expertise in writing, that has their proven expertise in writing, asking them about that or getting advice from them about that may be at least worth hearing them out on that. Doesn't mean they're right, but it may be worth hearing them out. But if that's all they've done, and now you're talking about other things that they've either fallen short on, proved that they couldn't handle, or they just simply have never practiced it, they don't understand it, and they're trying to tell you something, right? Perhaps take that with even more grains, several grains of salt, because they might be ignorant on that subject. And everybody's ignorant on something. I don't pretend like I know everything, because I don't. Thanks for watching. Be sure to head over to rippaverse.com to check out our comic book company. We have books, plenty of merchandise, and even some glorious animations from Rippaverse Studios.